Oh, and we are live. Analysts After Work, sometimes called Analysts After Dark. I don't know. Maybe that's a catchier name. But I am joined by. There's more people here than normal, because it's still better than the last couple shows that have had like 30 people on at a time. Anyways, welcome to the show, Tamara Koppel, Steve Palmer, Dan Simon. Welcome, 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 welcome. How is everyone?
Hey, you know what? It's 3:00 my time. I'm starting happy hour early. That's how it's going.
It has been, yeah. Cheers. It has been that kind of last week, maybe.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a second. Let's get the formalities out of the way. Yes. What, Steve?
Yes. What?
I'm getting used to people just trying to like dominate this show and like. Okay. Anyways, why don't we start with the traditional? Tamara, what are you joining us with today?
Well, I broke out a brand new bottle of Pirtle honey mead, which Pirtle is a local winery, and they do a lot of really delicious stuff, and I love them. So I'm a fan of mead.
I want to interrupt right away because I have local wineries, and I can't say that I necessarily enjoy them a whole lot. So I want to be like in the mode of, okay, somebody has local wineries and they enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool, and it's a mead. So that's a honey mead. Is that what you said? That sounded like that sounded like I could throw down a couple of those.
Oh yeah. This is a good one. This is the kind that goes down smooth, and you have a couple of them, and then you stand up and you're like, okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So
no, sit back down and have another.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Which is unusual for American alcoholic beverages by and large. And now maybe I'm just thinking of beer and the comparison between Canadian and American beer, but mead sounds lovely.
Or it could just be that I'm a lightweight. I mean, that's if any people who know me know I'm a lightweight, so you know. We
can explore that as we go. Let's go around the horn. Steve-O, what do you? I think last time you had something pretty interesting. What do you got this time?
I think last time I had a bourbon. This time it's we're well into day 3 of this Olympic-esque election cycle. So I'm slowing down a little bit.
Olympics, what are you talking about? What is?
Oh, it's just
something going on.
Election coverage.
Oh, has there been? Oh, I had no idea.
No, nothing important.
Nobody's been reporting anything for 48 hours.
No one's had increased cortisol levels for like 72 hours, which is unsustainable and like it is just stress eating bags of cookies. No, that doesn't happen.
I have no nails left.
So anyway, I'm drinking a lovely Sam 76 because I believe that was the last year the U.S. had a non-contentious election.
Touche.
One point.
Right. Yeah. There we go.
Steve.
And Dan,
that might actually be inaccurate, Steve, and I don't mean to be completely off base here because I'll have to go back and do this because I'm sure it was contentious if I'm thinking about the candidates, but I really can't say a whole lot because it's annoying the living crap out of me that I spelled bartender wrong. Like I don't know. Like that is just a crazy. Like how the heck did I do that? Okay,
wait a second.
Redo the setting there. That was crazy.
With that, you were Dan the Bear Ender.
The Bear Ender,
which kind of works too. I mean,
well, it does just not in this environment.
I have heard stories from about previous PMI conference.
Yeah.
Oh, you have, huh?
So,
yeah,
Bruce has loose lips, man. He's a talker.
Like really calling me the Bear Ender and then saying the next name out of your mouth is Bruce, not helping, just so you know, okay? Not exactly, and definitely not accurate.
All right, I respect Dan. So Dan, I finally got to check out your session at the Project World Virtual Conference. The Bear Ender's Guide
The Barender's Guide.
The Bartender's Guide to. I think that's going to be this episode's running joke, like
Right.
the one with Jen Forrest and the Wind in the Willows wine, or that cheap stuff from Aldi.
Weeping Owl is the.
I know. I knew what it was, but like,
you were going down a different pathway. I guess.
I was just having fun.
Sure.
But I finally got to check it out. So I it was amazing.
Really?
I thought so. I
Thank
can only imagine that it would be even better live. But the way that you pieced things together and showed, like when you were mixing the drinks and how the same components look different and are different depending on how you. It was. I loved it. So I'm really looking forward to what you're bringing to the table today, because you are Dan the bartender.
I appreciate that. Let me hang on.
Yeah.
I mean, with all that intro, this better be good.
No,
It better be good. I'm drinking iced tea.
I'm drinking coffee.
Oh.
Coffee
Okay.
and? No, coffee.
Irish coffee or
There you go. That's
There
another
we
good
go.
one.
I am drinking an Irish beer. It's a Smithwick's, I think. Smithwick's Red Ale.
okay.
I know this sounds crazy, especially for somebody named Dan the bartender, but it's way too darn early for me to go down into my bourbon rabbit hole. And so the funny thing is, I told my wife, hey, I gotta no, it's not a Guinness glass. It is a Pentagon glass.
I think it was for Steve-O though.
In honor of this week. Okay. Oh yeah,
Well,
Steve.
Yep, it is a Guinness glass.
That's fine. Respect.
Good call though. So I tell my, I'm like, hey, I gotta do this, this call at 4:00, Zoom call. I said, she looks at me and she gets the weird squinty eyes and goes, "You're opening a beer for this Zoom call?"
Yeah.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah. I'm like, after I mean, actually, she said, "You're opening your 5th beer?" No. So I said, yeah, it's after hours. I said, that's the whole point. And she goes, oh, okay. But like walked away like in disbelief of the whole concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like that wasn't like, I was just making some sort of weird general excuse, like, Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible throwing the ice out the back door and saying, I got to go get ice,
Right.
Hey, I'm opening a beer because it's, Halloween, Blue Moon, left Thursday or whatever the heck.
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
So thank you very much for all the intro. And I hope that's a very long-winded explanation as to what I've got going on here in terms of beverage land.
Amazing. Hey.
Right.
That's the welcome.
No, and I want to say thank you. What, Steve?
If anybody needs to explain what they're drinking, it's the Bear Ender.
Yeah. No, clearly.
There you go. Right. It's the Bear Ender. Yeah.
I don't know, Steve. But I just can't stop looking at your back. You turned around right before we went live and looked at something in your backyard, and I thought, was that Bigfoot?
No, there is something. There's something back there. Oh no, it's just a tree. It's a tree branch.
Isn't Bigfoot's name Daryl? That's what the commercial says. Has anybody seen that? It's an insurance commercial. You might not have. You might not have up north there. It's a Progressive commercial where she's sitting down talking to Bigfoot, and he goes, "Well, my name is Daryl." So that's why I asked the question. But clearly that one landed flat, which is fine. But I do want.
You know what? It's fine.
Keep swinging, Dan. You'll get there.
It's fine.
Yeah. 85% sticks. The rest doesn't. It's okay.
One of the points of this show is to try out new material and see what works.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, then you scrap it from your set. And if it does work, you've got a tight 5-10 minutes of stand up that you can do pre-event. So
which is, by the way, I think like my presentation, and Vince, thank you for watching. I'm honored that you watched, and I appreciate the
stuff.
No, I am. I really am, because I love watching you speak. So I appreciate that you took the time to watch it. But it was such a CF. It was such a crazy mess. And by the way, I'm literally still cleaning up after it. I brought the glassware down today. My wife had to be like, what are you doing with this stuff still upstairs? Kind of deal. And
But you did it. You did it good. Like you had a backdrop. Like you were set up. You were ready to go. And this is what I'm saying. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine what it was like live. And I shared this with you afterwards.
Yeah.
The last time that I think we were in Boston last year, and I said, I'm coming to your thing this afternoon.
Yeah.
It was at the end of the day on the Tuesday. I'm like, I'm coming. I can't wait to see it. And then it was on the Monday because I had a keynote.
It was Monday.
I passed out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna come back down. I'm gonna go have a nap after lunch.
Right.
I am gonna come back down, and then I just didn't wake up.
Yeah.
And I was out. I think I came down like for the last 15 minutes of the afternoon reception. So basically, from like 2:00 until 5:30, I was out.
But that's the drain. That's the drain of presenting. Like it took me a couple of days, even after this one. Like I was still organizing things in my head and remotivated to write the book. And courtesy, not just from what you said, but like anytime I'm like pouring all that stuff and explaining all of it and going down those roads, I'm like, oh, I got to get this book out of my head and on paper.
Yeah.
And so, but what was crazy was that thing, and I think I told you beforehand, it was just the content was messed up, and I was going in 12 different directions at the same time. The shortened time frame, it was just bizarre, But it's always fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it takes a couple of days to come down off a really good after a really good talk. I went around after BBC, kept rewording the talk that Becky Skinner and I did together for days afterwards, and I'm like, Tamara, finally, you can put it away now. You're done. It's okay. Move on.
Yeah. And I was there.
You're thinking about all the things you might have done right, wrong, or indifferent, and you're going down those pieces in your head, and like, I just want out of my own head at that point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to, right? Like you have to just walk away.
Yeah, and you're the only one that realizes when you don't hit the notes that you want to hit.
Right.
Like I gave a couple talks out in Colorado last week, and I can't say I was 100% pleased with either one of them, but I got so many pats on the back, and I'm like,
yeah.
Did you guys hear the same speech? Because I missed notes that I wanted to put something on there.
Are you humble bragging? Like
I don't want to be humble about it. I think killed it. let's get rid of this humble stuff right now.
Amazing.
That's the guy's response.
Well,
that's the guy's response.
Let me close out the round of the first
get that
question.
out before Bigfoot comes and gets me.
I am for those that have been with the show for the last couple of weeks. I still have the bottle of Aperol that I bought for BBC. It is going at a 1 shot per week thing. This is as we talked about last week.
COVID may actually be done by the time you finish that bottle.
But this is the only thing that I have a beverage for. Like I am that guy who will buy a 6-pack of beer and it will go bad because I don't normally drink. So this just sits. I have a little shelf here and it just sits there. And like every week I'm going to just 1 shot at a time.
Cool.
But yes, Steve.
2 follow-up questions for you. Whenever you're done, I'm sorry.
No,
is this how you're counting seasons for this show? How long it takes you to get through a bottle?
No, but that's a great idea.
Season 2 is you got
season 1 Aperol. Season 2 single malt Scotch. That's a good idea. I like that. And yes, Danaka,
there won't be a season 3 if you get through single malt.
Oh, I have some pretty good stuff. It's nice and smooth.
Okay.
It's nice. Anyways,
see, Danelkas, that's my reaction. That's my reaction to Scotch. I've had some really good Scotch that came over direct from Scotland. It was like aged, and I swear it was liquid shoe leather. Oh my God, it was nasty.
Switch to bourbon. Please. Join us.
This is
on the bourbon frontier.
I've heard there's some pretty good. There's a good bourbon, Basil Hayden's, I think. I don't know where it's. Yeah, I hear it's really good. A buddy of mine
I just got some
loves it.
I just got some Weller, and I got a bottle of something else crazy. I got some Angel's Envy. I don't know. There's something else I spent stupid money on that, I will. The funny thing is Steve is so much more the connoisseur here on bourbon. Like, he'll be like telling me notes, and I'll be like, yeah, no, I drank it and it sucked. Like, or I drank it and it was really good. Like, that's, as long as it goes down.
But like he just said, he's the only one that knows that he's lying.
For sure.
And so, and so
he would say, "Can't you taste the licorice on the back of that?" I'll be like, "No, what are you? No, I couldn't take the."
So a couple years ago, I think just to illustrate the point.
Yes.
A couple years ago, the Art Gallery Ontario had an exhibit with Picasso, and they had brought in they did an entire wing of Picasso, and this is before I had kids and I was like a lot wittier. I did this thing, and it drove my wife nuts, but I did this thing where I would walk up to
Mission
a painting.
accomplished then.
Yeah, I would walk up to a painting and I would just stand there pensively, and then I would turn to her and say something to the effect of, "The important thing is not to look at the colors that he chose, but the colors he didn't choose." And then I would turn around and walk away, and and then I would listen to people have conversation. Oh yes. Notice there's no black in the painting, and I didn't know what I'm talking. I don't know anything.
This goes down the road into showing the difference between you and me and our eloquence level. I walked through the Louvre once with a buddy of mine, and I just walked around saying stuff like, "Where in the hell is dogs playing poker?" Or like, we'd be looking at statues. I'd be like, some of those parts over there can go onto this one. You have a complete statue. Now,
this is why the French walk around going, Americans.
Right.
Americans.
Americans.
The first time I went to Spain with my wife, we went to the Prado Museum.
Yeah.
We had just landed, and it was like Sunday afternoon. The Prado is free on Sunday afternoons. And so she's like, we gotta go. I'm like, I'm jet lagged. I'm tired. I don't want to go. Anyways, I after almost being shot by Spanish National Police on the way in, which is a whole other story. My visit consisted of walking into a room and me doing this. Where's the bench? And then I would just go sit on the bench, and I sat there like this. Okay, whenever you guys are ready, I'm ready to go. I don't want to be here. And like, I feel bad because I didn't give it a chance, but like, I'm tired. I don't care. I don't want to be here.
I've been to the Louvre twice, and I was completely amazed by the artwork I saw, despite the fact that I was bringing up bartenders playing bare-enders playing poker.
Yeah, the bare-enders. The bare-ended ladies.
The bare-ended ladies. So
great Canadian group.
I was going to say Canadian. Who I saw once at a Christmas show in Atlanta a long time ago, and they were really good, despite not liking a whole lot of their music. But it's one of those things where, like, I was so impressed, and there was a painting. It's like the Jovenes. It was the Young something. I think it's called the Young Martyr, and it was probably my favorite painting of all in the Louvre. And but you just get mystified and mesmerized by that stuff, and it's really good. And I bet, Vince, like, if you went back, under a different circumstance, you throw down a different perspective on it. You'd kill off that regret.
Absolutely. And like later that trip, we went to the Reina Sofia museum, and we saw the other Picasso, the Guernica, and like, I mean, first of all, it's like 60 feet by 40 feet. It is a massive, massive painting. And like, just stood there and noticed the little things. And my brother-in-law is an artist. And so he was like explaining things to me, and the significance and the at the time it was the Civil War and all the stuff. And it was like, oh, okay, that's very cool. And the horse anyways, doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it's
Persian horse.
Yeah, well, no, it's a horse that's like, you can't tell if it's on attack or on defense. It's like its mouth is open. Is it dying or is it like biting? Like there's all this significance in the
Isn't
painting.
that all art? It's just interpretation.
Sure, and again,
My question is,
the colors they don't use.
Right? Thinking all that stuff, or were they like, oh,
I think so.
Oh, crap, I'm out of wine.
I think so.
Bottle of, or was it just like, hey, we don't have television, so let me paint?
I think everybody except maybe Jackson Pollock with the splatter.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think I could do that. I'm pretty sure I could do that, but
I don't buy into that as art. I have like when you compare Jackson Pollock's splatter to some of the Renaissance art and the incredible amount of detail and everything in it. I'm one of those more traditionalists like that. I will say this, Dali is one of my favorites.
Yes.
I love Dali. He's amazing. Frida Kahlo is pretty cool as well, though she gets a little strange. But have yet to go to the Louvre, so I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
My closest experience was watching Dan Brown's what was that? Not Angels and Demons, the one where they're chasing the Holy Grail. The first one. The Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci
Thank
Code,
you.
yeah.
See, that's kind of cool. See, if I'm the kind of person that reads those books, that if the words secret, lost, or forbidden are in the title and they have anything to do with like archaeology or anything like that, I will probably pick the book up. And so
Just
when the Da
rope
Vinci came, because it's just fun. When the Da Vinci Code came out, there was just, it's fiction and it's all conspiracy theory and it's fun, but there's just enough of truth in it that it actually made me want to go back and look up all of these pieces of art that he references throughout this piece of fiction and say, wait a minute, is that really there? And is that really what it means? Well, it's fiction, so it's BS, but
But it
gets you interested.
It's based in truth, right? Like when I read Angels and Demons, we had just come back from Rome, and it was like, oh, I remember that, and I didn't notice that, and so sorry, Steve.
Da Vinci Code, they actually sell copies of it to where like the painting's actually in the book too. So they're running around the Louvre and they see whatever painting it is, and they're painting's on the next page. Oh yeah, that's what they're looking at. Cool.
Yeah, cool. Well, I mean, Steve-O, you brought it up, and we can't dance around it. It has been a very tumultuous. And the last time that you and I spoke, we ended up in a debate over. You asked me to pick one side or the other, and it was very uncomfortable for me as an outsider because I didn't have any insights. And I thought, with Tamara here today, maybe we can have that discussion because she might be able to offer some insight. And maybe you don't remember this, Steve, but what you asked me was, if I was involved in debate, what side would I pick? Texas barbecue or Kansas City barbecue? And I don't know the difference between the two. And Tamara, you're in KC, right?
I am.
So what is the difference, and which one is better, and why is it KC barbecue?
Thank God you picked a topic I know a little bit about.
Oh, I was not going to.
Oh my God!
I was not going to talk politics here. No, Paul. No, man. I was not going to talk politics because we all seem to like each other. And we don't need that right now. We need love in this world. So what is the difference? And I open this to the group between Kansas City and Texas barbecue, and then what's the difference?
Geography.
Oh, okay.
Very much so.
Oh,
hometown pride. No, but seriously,
that's very disappointing.
No, there is, and I had to throw that in.
Oh, okay.
Kansas City barbecue has a lot of deep brown sugar and ketchup in it, and it tends to go on the sweeter side. But we pride ourselves in also having lots of different flavors within that spectrum. So, and in our American Royal is a horse show that we have had, like an equestrian show that we've had for years and years and years. And in advance of the American Royal, there's always a huge barbecue bake-off. And we have pitmasters from all over the United States that come and compete and for prizes. So the time to come is the American Royal, where you can just try all of the best that everyone has been experimenting with.
And when is that? When is that?
I'd have to look that up because I think it's been canceled but it's usually in the early fall. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We have around the same time. We have the
But the
agricultural.
so it's all about it's all about the different flavor of the barbecue sauce, right? Tamara, like Kansas City is a little bit sweeter, whereas is it Carolina that has a little bit more mustard bent to it? I can't remember. And I think Memphis is another one. I just can't remember how it all goes, but I think
and this has struck a chord because like everyone's weighing in. What about Carolina and Steve Jones? What about Western versus? And I don't even know if these are actual arguments or if Steve's just messing with me.
And even within Kansas City, we have 3 or 4 favorites that people will go into fistfights over. There's 3 or 4 different brands that have become hotspots around Kansas City, and they will defend themselves to the death. So Kansas City's barbecue is serious business.
Well, and we get whenever we have like a fair or something up here, we will get people that come up from all over the U.S. with their and you can see them with their like mop thing that like spreads the sauce, and it's like. I have a friend that is a big foodie, and he like food truck foodie, and then he will go and pre-scout so that we know which lines we want to waste our time in, and not which ones are just long lines because people want food. But I've always been curious, and Dan, you probably like. To me, it was always geography, and how this came up, Steve-O. I don't know if you remember. This is when you asked me to be a guest speaker at your university course.
This was a real conversation we had?
Yeah, this was a real conversation you and I had. Oh, I'm so glad it registered. It's been on my mind since May when we had this conversation. But okay, good. No, it's fine. Good. It's good that we now know where we stand with each other, and that's fine. So
I remember you being in my course. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, but we were talking about barbecue, and you asked like, oh, does Canada have a barbecue too? And I thought, yeah, like we have barbecue places, and
you just don't defend it to the death.
I didn't know that it was a thing, and then
you have like Albertan and Saskatchewan flavor profiles, is what you're telling me.
No, I think it just depends on what you use. Like, maybe in Alberta they might use bison.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, like barbecue is barbecue. It's sauce or it's like powdered or whatever. And I didn't realize it was such a thing.
Barbecue sauce should never come powdered.
Oh, all right.
Those are dry rubs.
Never.
Yeah, well, but it's still barbecue, right? Like it's still barbecue. No.
No.
Am I displaying my Canadian ignorance?
Which one's closest?
Okay, so it's got to be sauce.
Which one's closest to me? And how do I get there?
Yeah. I think the most important thing here, Steve, for you is to understand that your questions resonate. Your questions bring forth life's perspective, okay? Even when it refers to barbecue. That's what I think. That's what I think the takeaway here is.
And it hurts me that you don't remember. And you know what? Thanks for joining us today, Steve. So
okay, and to the chat, okay, St. Louis might have a dry rub, not quite the same, little higher quality than powdered. I'll go with that.
Okay, but so is there beef between? And no pun intended. Is there beef between St. Louis and Kansas City? Because you guys are on opposite sides of the state, right? Like,
of course there is.
Okay,
we have the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. What else can we find?
Yeah, but that's American League and
rival
National
about.
League.
This is just, we have all kinds of rivalries. But everybody knows at the end of the day, Kansas City's the best.
This is all.
Well, I mean, you are the biggest city in Kansas, right? Like that.
Okay, my dear.
See what I did there? I know geography.
Are we going to have to go do this again?
No, I know my I know my geography.
The sad part.
Cut you out.
You know what? With that in mind.
guess I'm lucky. I must be prettier than you, Steve, so.
All right, and I've just been uninvited from Steve's course for this upcoming semester.
Well, that was your goal, right? Wasn't that your goal?
I cannot invite you now. Now that I know the hard-hitting topics about barbecue are what keep people coming back. Like, now to make your way back in, I can't just uninvite you. But you're holding all the cards right now.
No, we're not going to talk politics today. We're just going to throw barbecue into the middle of it and let everybody go mud fight.
We're not. And I mean, you know what? I actually think that's a good thing because I am politicked out. I have been watching for 4 years, but I have been watching, like, I have the CBC and Twitter open constantly and just like update, refresh. And since Monday, and it's exhausting. I'm tired of it. I can't wait till it's over.
Yeah. I'm loving I love the strategy. I'm loving hearing what is coming next. So I've been on with, I don't know, four different channels, like flipping back and forth, just trying to hear what.
Thank you, Rick.
Happen next, you know.
Yeah, and what? So I stuck to CBC not because it's Canadian, but I actually liked their framework for when they were calling things, and so what they did was they weren't going to jump to conclusions. They were like, this is about being right, not being fast. They were getting a feed from Associated Press, and then they waited until 3 of the 5 big networks made the same call, and that's when they would declare. And it was like, okay, that makes sense.
The CBC, is that what you said?
Yeah, the Canadian Broadcasting.
No, I just want to make sure I had the initials right. Then they probably haven't called Arizona yet. Because
they hadn't. They hadn't.
Only 2 networks have called Arizona.
Yeah, they hadn't.
Yeah.
So
and one of them was the Republican network that called for the Democrat. Very weird. Very weird.
I mean, hey, data is data, right? Like you can only fudge it so much.
Well,
right?
Yep. You're asking.
I don't think that's accurate anymore. Now there's so much data that you can make the data say whatever you want it to.
I mean, the micro data they're getting into on counties on this stuff has just. I am absolutely amazed by how they're getting into it.
See, now this is the conversation where you'd probably want to have my husband on the show. He's the data engineer in the family, and he will talk to you all day long about the right way to report data in an unbiased fashion. So,
well, yeah, I mean,
data is math, and math not my thing. And I never was the kind of person who could come to a conclusion by saying what something is not. I just jump straight into this is what I think because I'm opinionated that way, and I have a plethora of opinions. So
and this is where like bringing the Six Sigma, the lean, the statistical analysis into the BA space, and then being able to speak with both, like you become nearly unstoppable. But you're right in I think you said it, Steve. You can actually use data to tell whatever story you want. You know, and it's just how you interpret it, and you hope that they do it in an unbiased way. But we have a request from friend of the show, the lovely Mindy. So I think that's enough of politics and statistical analysis.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take us back down that rabbit hole.
It's all good. It's just, you know, Mindy is a dear friend, and I want to make sure that Mindy's happy. So there we go.
Mindy, we'll come back to politics in season 2 when Vinny has a new bottle.
Yeah, that's the sparkling water season.
Okay, I hope your sparkling water bottle doesn't last a whole season, dude. I would not want to drink that.
Even that is only there because it was one of the ingredients in elicitation from IIBA.
Is that one you might want to throw out? I bet it's flat by now.
Then it's just water. Then I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Let's go back. So the last time that I was in Italy was the first time that I got accustomed to that sparkling water. Because when you go there and you buy like bottled water, it's sparkling water. It's mineral water. And it was I was there in the middle of August. The airline lost my luggage. I was wearing jeans for the whole week. And there were days where it was so hot, I'm like, I don't even care that this is mineral water. And I would just chug that thing. And after a while, it's not bad. It gets tasty.
Those are the two questions that I had the hardest time with when I go to Europe: sparkling or tap, and then how do I want my coffee? I can't seem to understand the Americano. Like I keep ordering coffee first thing in the morning, and it comes out with a little espresso.
Yeah, but that's action packed, man. The espresso is just a quick hit. Give you that jolt and go. The Americano is, I think they're making sense.
I heard the sirens in the background. Who are they coming for?
Yeah,
Because it ain't me.
Probably me.
Yeah, I mean, you're outdoors. Like, what did you do, Steve?
yeah, but I'm the bare ender. So
I forgot about that, and now
no,
I
wanted to make sure. See, I wanted to make sure I was ahead of it.
Yeah, you got to own it, man, because if it's like that, it's the Eminem theory from 8 Mile. You go in, you say, "Here's all the ways that I suck. Now what you got?" You can't make fun of that. So, well done, sir. Own that. Own that.
I appreciate that very much. All right. So, was there a second question you were going to bring forth to us beyond the opening salvo?
No, that's it. You know that I have one question.
That is one question. It's supposed to.
I know that. Here's question 1. That's where you get with the conversation. So, it's kind of like an outline, Vince, and you know this. Like, if you have 1, you have to have 2. If you have A, you have to have B.
Question 2 was barbecue.
But you didn't have that question. That was somebody else's question.
No, that was my question.
That was his question.
They got to it.
Steve brought it up. Oh, that's right, because Steve forgot.
That was my question. You can't pick my question.
I rest my case.
I'm getting muted.
All right, Tamara, you were at BBC. I caught the first half of your session because unfortunately you were speaking at the same time as Dave Schaefer and Jennifer Bedell. And
really
I wanted
amazing people.
I wanted to see both, and so I was there for the first half of yours, second half of theirs. Was that your first time speaking at BBC?
Yes.
How did it feel?
I'm glad we did it on Zoom because I think seeing that many people in the room would have been I would have gone from just light blush to a tomato face. It was really exciting. Becky and I had planned on an in-person session like everybody else had, but we did know well enough in advance that we could retool the whole thing for an interactive presentation in person. And luckily, by the time they came to us in the week, we'd also worked out several issues with Zoom and interactivities with polls and Zoom and things like that as well. So for us, it worked out really, really well. I was pleased with the questions that we got at the end. Our talk was on the relationship between BAs and project managers and some of the pitfalls that can happen. I am seeing some themes repeated. She and I gave a dry run presentation a couple of times to different groups, and all 3 times, including the live, the question came up, what do you do when your project manager is pushing a deadline that you can't possibly meet? And that seemed to be a common theme. And it always came back to us, and the conversation in the room always came back to those project managers sometimes don't have any more control over the deadline than you do. So figure out where that's coming from and what's driving it. So
it's problematic, right? Especially if a plan is being developed without consulting the people that are doing the work. That's asking for trouble, right? Like it is problematic. I did a co-presentation as well with my podcast co-host, and we talked about digital transformation, and we actually recorded our last practice session, and it's coming out next week on my podcast as just like here's a bonus episode, but we left in like all the don't say that. And no, you screwed that up. And can you shorten that? And like we left in all the stuff. And we're talking, we did this the day before. but the day of, it was just like you come to perform, and you gotta get it done, right? Like,
it's amazing how it comes together when, she and I would practice, and then we'd stop ourselves in the middle and going, wait, no, we don't want to say it like that. Nope, take another note. But when it finally came together, thank you, Danelkis. When it finally came together, it was very smooth, and Becky's just great to work with. This was a first for both of us. I was privileged to be asked to speak at the Minneapolis Professional Development Day early last year.
Cool.
And then proceeded to give the same talk a couple more times throughout 2019. But this talk came together literally because the San Antonio Central Region Summit was the last in-person IIBA event I went to this year. It wasn't even a chapter meeting.
You went to a place this year?
I did.
Like on a plane?
Like on a plane. I know.
Oh my God.
What's that about? February. And we're like, yeah, things are getting weird out there. But yeah, it's the United States. There's like great big oceans between us and everybody else. Nope.
Yeah.
Not happening. So yeah, this was a whole conversation that happened over dinner at the end of the day when everyone was exhausted and, enjoying the margaritas. And it turned into a whole conference talk.
Yeah.
So the most organic way possible.
And it's good. Like every year I'll try to come up with a couple different sessions, and then I'll ride those ones for like that year. 'Cause I'm not going to just do something for one time. Let's get some ROI here and at least give it some legs. But awesome. And
so let me ask you this,
Steve, you were on a plane, but you've got questions. That's fine. Go ahead.
How many times do you need to either practice or perform a speech before you feel optimally comfortable with it? So Vinny, you talked about coming up with one or two and riding them for a year. Tamara, you talked about practicing 3 or 4 times before going live. Like what's your rule of thumb? Because I find that if I don't go through it, I find that 4 is my lucky number. I find that by the time I've gone through it 4 times, I have now, I now know what slides are coming. I now know my talking points, and I'm talking about going through it, live. So I'm saying it out loud. I am, walking around a room, laser pointing it up, like whatever it is. Like I find 4 is kind of where my comfort zone hits, and at that point, questions are coming fast and loose, and I'm handling all of them and going on with it. I'm just curious, what are your numbers? Like what makes you comfortable?
It depends, man. I did a talk once. I did a 75-minute keynote in a company, and I did it for for their PMO and their project management practice on Six Sigma. And I knew the material well enough, and I had a framework of what I wanted to talk about. I went up with no plan. I'm like, what I'm about to talk about, I have no idea. And I had people come up to me at the end saying, we're used to, very structured and people behind the podium. And I just got up there and I had like my cup of Starbucks, and I'm just like, okay, so what's up? Here's what we're going to talk about, and blah, blah, blah. And it killed because it was genuine, and but it was more of a conversation. I find that when I do it, when I do it live is probably the first time I've done it end to end. And then
no, not me.
Yeah, no, it's
not me.
It doesn't work.
And I mean, again, I know what I want to say, but then I start to tweak it. And so like I did the keynote for Project World in Boston last year. And that was the first time I had done a keynote, period. Yeah. And so, I had my framework. I had the things that I was going to say. I knew the slides. And then afterwards I went and like, okay, this didn't work. Let me flip these things. And then, I did it a second time. And the second time I was fortunate enough that our buddy Hans Ekman was in the audience, and at the end, him and I and Jamie Champagne stood outside of the conference room, and he was like, he went through like in what felt like excruciating detail, but he's like, And like there are things that stick to me to this day, where it's like, you know, you can tell where you planned a joke, and you can tell where you were just funny. And when you planned the joke, it never hit. But when you would just say something that was like off the cuff and humorous, people would laugh. So stop planning your jokes. So like things like that. So it tweaks and it evolves. But I would say, you know, to your point, Steve, by the fourth time, like it's pretty locked in.
Yeah.
I tend to I put my slides together, and then I really try to at least have the introduction nailed, like a memorized script. Because for me, I think people respond to personal stories, and I want to have some personal experience to start. So the one that I used last year was on business process redesign, and wanted to tell that story about how I became involved and how this became a topic for me. And so I memorized that piece of it so that I would keep it deliberately short and exactly to the point. And then I kind of ad-libbed with some notes the rest of the presentation. But for me, it's not, I can't really tell how it's going to come out until I do it in front of an audience. And my chapter has been amazing. They've let me now speak 3 times. I guess I'm the president now, so I can kind of do that by default. But
let's not get political here, Tamara. No politics.
No politics.
No politics.
I mean,
the president can do whatever they want. The president cannot do whatever they want. Just
no, you're correct.
I claim the state.
But at any rate, I have presented in front
hereby
of my
claim
chapter.
the Roman Empire in the name of Canada.
Good luck with that.
Canada now
Let us know how it
owns
works out.
the Roman Empire. There it is. There it is. It's ours.
That's what works for me, is actually just trying to get it a couple of times in front of a live audience, and at least once before I give it live.
And I think if you know your topic, like you it's easier. It's easier to do, right? But now and Mindy made this point, and she's right. Like if you go back and watch the first couple episodes of this show, it was not good. Not that it's great now, but like it was not good.
Thanks.
And
wasn't I on the early show?
You guys were episode 3, and that's really where it.
Just after.
That's where we really rounded the corner, and it started. That's
where we fixed things.
Yeah.
You guys were instrumental in helping that happen.
but like,
and now we get invited because it's just like, whatever. You guys want back in?
But like it's you know, it takes time. Like and I've given this feedback to the other friends that start podcasts or start whatever. Like your first podcast is going to be bad, but you need to do that first one so that the 50th is good. Like it's just you need to get through the crap. Right. It's just it is what it is. And so, you know, figuring out how crappy you are at the beginning to get through that to the point where it's okay. You know, if it takes you 3 times or 1 time or 100 times, as long as you know I think that's the key. Dan, what about you, man? What's your take?
I don't rehearse at all. I always claim I'm going to, and then I don't. I review my slides, or in this case, like for Bartender's Guide, I'm using Prezi. I go through that a few times, and I think I know what I'm gonna say, and then it comes out completely different. But somehow it manages to still come together. Boston was just, and I'm not saying this in any way, Vince, Boston was amazing. Boston, they like slammed, like I didn't even have to come up with the comedy. I didn't have to do it. The audience filled it in for me. It was amazing. And I'll tell you just a brief little story of it is the video that I did not show on. Oh, thanks, Steve. The video I did not show during last week's presentation was of Roadhouse, and I kept it because it has a couple of words in there that probably shouldn't be in there, but when I give it live,
Yeah, no one's recording you.
Hey, you are watching The Bartender's Guide to Project Management. You walked in the door understanding that this was not going to be, or I said it's going to be an irreverent approach, is what I said. I said, in this video, you're going to hear words that I am not responsible for because I did not write the script.
Okay, I got to see this talk now at some point.
Yeah. Oh,
Where
it's
are you
so
speaking
good.
next?
And
It's
people
so good.
were, as soon as they saw the star of the video, they were laughing. They were rolling. They knew what was coming, and it flowed well, and there was no, so like those parts, like I had to work into. It was not until the third time or fourth time that I did it that like I got that piece together. But most of the time, I don't rehearse. Doesn't matter what.
Boston was like that though. Like Boston,
Yes.
I think of all the groups, like I have the most laughs with the folks in Boston.
Yes.
Like I don't know. It's something in that New England air.
It was awesome. But I do have to tell Steve right now, Steve, I was at Legal Seafood. Just so you know.
Oh, other Steve, not this Steve.
Yeah. No, Steve.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
Steve-O. Sorry.
You don't count, Steve-O.
No,
I don't care where you had lunch today.
like his conversations occasionally resonate. But Steve Jones asked earlier, said, you need to go to Legal Seafood next time. I said, I was there. There was like 15 of us. So,
yeah. That's when Jimmy had like 2 lobsters.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, when you can expense it.
Right.
What's an extra lobster?
Right.
Like,
well,
and I felt bad
funny,
getting the
He kept wanting some drink where he wanted something the entire time we were there, and I don't even think he knew what he was ordering.
Yes. Yes.
Remember? And he kept.
I remember that.
He was like, "What are you? Oh God, I'm gonna have to remember what the heck it is."
Wasn't it a tequila sunrise?
No, that was too simple. It was like a Bahama Mama or something like that. It was something like that. It was in that same vein. He ordered it wherever the hell we were, and he didn't even know what the heck he was ordering.
But he ordered it at a hotel bar, and like
a hotel bar.
Rusty Nail?
A hotel steak bar. Like it wasn't the kind of restaurant that you walk in the door unless you have the recipe with you.
Is this Steve is weighing in the Rusty Nail? I don't know if it was the Rusty. Okay, whatever it was, I was there, and that was actually you and I. And I'm going to say this without getting it into the bear ender thing. We had a moment there.
Yes.
Where we found out that Jimmy is Ugandan royalty.
Right.
and you and I looked at each other like.
Yeah, no, I said to you, actually you were still looking at Jimmy like with your chin dropped.
Yeah.
And I said, you can't make that up.
Yeah.
You can't. And you turn to me and go, no, you can't. Right?
No,
it was just like that kind of bizarre moment.
Because I mean, if you're gonna lie about something, though, you say like who's gonna check that? Mm-hmm. But I don't. Jimmy is not the kind of guy to make up stories like that.
No.
And so he's like, I'm. I mean, he's descended from.
Yes.
They called him, there was the elder of the village called him Bachinga, I think, or Machinga, something like that. And he's like, well, what does that mean? And she said, descended from the king.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay.
Like, what? and it's instantaneous. We're like,
yeah.
That's why we come to these things. That's why you show up and you spend time with all the speakers, because that's where you learn just such amazing stuff from everybody else. And that one floored me.
Yeah. So we've got a couple people here saying it was a tequila sunrise. Paul,
this
Steve,
must have been one hell of a party. I'm sorry, I missed it.
No, I mean it just happened. Like it's just the speakers and a few of the attendees just hanging out for dinner afterwards. This to me is the value of attending conferences live and like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a couple comments on the Tequila Sunrise. No, it was not Tequila Sunrise because I know it's in the Tequila Sunrise. This was one of those weird, like from my Friday's training days. This was one of those, like, it was Bahama Mama or something that I couldn't quite remember what the main ingredient was, even though I knew the ancillaries, and so I couldn't even throw down the recipe for the server. So it was not a Tequila Sunrise.
And we started searching for the recipe.
Yes, we had to search for it, and he was like, "No, I want one. They're really good." And I'm like,
and Jimmy was like, "No, that's not the right thing."
Yeah.
Like, well, maybe you're just asking for the wrong thing then, Jimmy. Like, excuse me, Your Highness.
Poor Jimmy's not even here. But,
I know. I got to have him on again.
I mean, I guess my question. Yeah, I mean, I guess my question is the Rusty Nail something the Bear Ender would recommend, or?
You could probably go down that road more than Vince, for sure. I don't know about Tamara, given the fact that she's drinking honey mead right now, whether or not she would do this. I believe Steve, and I know that Steve is going to come up and correct me. It's been a long time since I made one, but I think it's like a Scotch and Drambuie mix.
Oh, yeah. No, not my thing.
It's not going to be a Tamara drink, and I would doubt
Tamara, but
would come anywhere near that thing. But I think, Steve, you would give it a go just to see, like, okay, let's try this pathway.
I think you missed the joke. Yeah.
I did miss a joke. I was going into bartending expertise or Bear Ender expertise, whichever you prefer. And thanks.
that's okay. I reinforced you. So
Right? So that's half
the Rusty
population.
Nail just sounds dangerous for a Bear Ender. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I would not want a Rusty Nail anywhere near the Bear Ender at all. Just not a good idea.
It sounds dangerous.
It does. I mean,
I don't know. I'm a little disappointed, Steve. Speaking of dangerous, I haven't seen a single Bigfoot sighting yet.
Yes. Daryl's not out there
When
somewhere.
you're just not looking hard.
he's out protesting something.
They're out there. Protesting. This is day off.
He's doing something. I don't know. Like, Daryl is busy.
He's watching the election results of my dog downstairs.
Yeah, there you go.
And by the way, I'm watching the chat. I can't really respond because of I don't know whether I'm not logged in or not, but thank you, Steve and Danelkis, for the support. I appreciate it. It's a little bit better than I got live.
Where are they? What did I miss? What did they say, Steve?
I think I asked Steve. I said, "Hey, man," I said, Steve's going to correct me if I'm wrong, and I gave the actual ingredients, of course, when the joke went like this, and Steve said, "Yup," and then Danelka said, "I'm in." So thank you.
Oh,
both.
okay. There you go. I'll throw it up.
Other than Dan missed the joke.
There you go. Well, I mean,
You'll get the next one, buddy.
It's fine. It's fine.
Right.
I didn't realize what the context of
you'll
those
get the
were.
next one.
I am trying to monitor the chat so that I can throw up appropriate comments like Steve. I don't know what this means, but okay.
Yeah, I probably missed that joke too.
I think we all did. And that's fine. But anyway.
I'm loving the one-eyed Tigger, by the way. Don't know what that's about. But Steve,
that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, the one-eyed Tigger.
That. Steve is he is an entertaining gentleman. Steve is one of those dudes that I look forward to hanging out with whenever we're in Boston, and I know he's out of Connecticut, but just like one of those dudes that's like, I hope Steve's there. You know what I mean? Like, I hope we can go to Legal Seafood and have dinner. That's just a good dude.
I can't wait till we can actually get together in person again.
Oh, I know.
I miss that so much.
I know.
I mean, this BBC was fantastic. Great speakers like you. I spent some time bouncing between half sessions, so I can't wait to see all the recordings so I can go back and watch them. Not the least of which reason is because my work decided that since I was actually not physically there and couldn't unplug, they were going to continue to ping me all week long, and they did PI planning that week. So that was those all-day marathon sessions,
Thanks
and I
for
couldn't
that.
exactly be gone.
Right.
So
yeah.
Thank God to BBC that they scheduled me at what turned out to be 6:45 my time in the evening, because by that time everyone had given up and finally gone home, and I was like, okay, thank God. I'm not going to get a weird Zoom message saying the world is on fire when I'm But honestly, it's exciting times at work, and I didn't want to miss the PI planning any more than I wanted to miss any part of BBC. So
yeah, and it was good. It was good timing for me being an hour ahead because I could put the kids to bed and then shoot down here and catch the sessions. And it was interesting. And I think I shared with you, Tamara, that my brother-in-law is a Chiefs fan. And
yes.
I am a Dolphins fan, and we had a standing agreement that the next time they played, we were going to go to the
Kansas
game.
City.
And they are playing each other this year. Now, I believe they're in Miami this year. which means the next time they play, it'll probably be in KC. So I'll have to let you know.
Well, great. Absolutely. Well,
yeah,
we will get together. Open invitation.
folks. I cannot believe this. We are at the end of the hour
already.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The time flew. But I do want to give you guys a few minutes to close it out with some parting thoughts and messages for the folks that are joining us. Rick, Danelkus, Steve, Paul, Mindy was here, and a few other folks. AJ, we'll start with you, Tamara. Last minute thoughts. What do you want to leave our audience with for wisdom?
Pancakes have no bones.
This is true, and it means that they're boneless, and you're never going to get a pancake stuck in your throat.
Better win. 42.
I mean,
let's just leave it 42. At 42. You
there
can't top 42.
There you go. Hitchhiker's Guide. There you go.
Pancakes have no bones is a lot more esoteric.
It's
when you get it, you will be a Zen master.
It made me think. Dan the bartender. What wisdom do you want to leave us with, my friend?
Watch what you put in as your name when you're on these things.
Spell check your name.
Double spell check your name so you don't mess it up in a way that ends up being the running joke for more than an hour.
But we did call that, and I think I mean I would have to say, Tamara, you get a pass because you guys were just meeting. Steve and I we did go pretty easy on you.
Well, you did, but I think I have to give that kudos to the fact that I caught it instead of you two catching it, and I announced it, and it was all. You should have seen me behind the scenes here, trying to figure out, like, where am I changing my name at? That is terrible, and I'm like trying.
Yeah.
To
and I mean, you could have just messaged me privately, and I would have done it for you, and I probably wouldn't have called attention to it. But,
I appreciate that.
Hey,
you know what? I'm going to leave you with this though. I think it's great to get together with people on this show. Always, it's always a blast. It's always fun to even be watching and be in the chat room. And I've enjoyed meeting some great people that have either been on the show or through the chat, and it's fantastic. So, I mean, you, Vince, are providing an awesome added value to everybody that comes in here.
Come on.
This is like the bar party without the actual in-the-person party.
Right.
That was the idea.
This is awesome.
Yes.
That was the idea, because I missed when we went into lockdown. I missed everybody, and we were supposed to all get together in Orlando, and we had a bunch of events scheduled for this year, and they weren't going to happen. And it was like, well, what can I do to still talk to these people? So I appreciate that, Dan. Thank you. I'm doing the thing really. I appreciate that. To me, this is just fun, and that's why I keep doing it. So. But I appreciate that, brother.
I promise at some point in time I will bring something even more dynamic as my drink, since the name is morphed from Dan the Bear Ender to Dan the Bartender.
You need to re-earn that title.
I'm going to re-earn it. Yes.
And Steve-O, you get the last word, brother. What are you thinking?
Just be more like Vince, every day. That's what I'm going for.
Okay, really now. That's not wise.
Remember to breathe.
Just remember to breathe.
Remember to breathe. Take a breath. It's crazy times, and the cases are going back up, and the presidential election's a mess. And take a breath. It'll be fine. We'll get through it. So
keep on rocking in the free world.
And I think that's I'm not even going to add anything. I think that's a great place to leave it. Just breathe. Tamara, Steve, Dan, want to thank you guys so much for being on Analysts After Work. You're all welcome back anytime. Just let me know, and we will hook that up. But thanks you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You guys don't have to run. I'm gonna end the broadcast, but you guys don't have to run. All right. Bye, everyone. See you in the next episode of Analysts After Work. Oh, Steve just flipped sideways.